Alright, hey guys, we're going to look at something here real quick, kind of come about as a result of current events. Usually don't try and get too doom and gloom and stuff like that, but you know, our mandate is to preach the word regardless, so I'm just going to read it like it says. So I'm going to go ahead and read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and we're going to start in verse 6. So actually verse 5. It says, "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in this time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let." Now understand that early English word for letteth means to restrain. So what he's saying is for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who restrains will restrain until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So he's talking about the coming of the Antichrist will then be revealed. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So it's talking about a certain group of individuals who just flat refused to see the truth. It's not that they weren't exposed to it, it's not that they weren't told it, but they just refused to hear it when it was presented to them. And it says, "And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie." So those individuals who refuse to see the truth, it says that God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now, one of the things that kind of precipitated this was a conversation I was having with a couple of different individuals regarding Three Square Market's announcement that they would be releasing the RFID chip implant to their employees, some 50 out of their 80 employees. Now, we've heard the RFID argument for a while, mark of the beast, this and that. Regardless of your stance on that, one of the things that I wanted to kind of focus on was that certain Christians that I talked to had talked about how scary that is, the fact that this is becoming mainstream, that they see it coming to pass. And I wanted to those individuals, I wanted to say the same thing that Paul is saying here. Paul is writing 2 Thessalonians here not as a means to discourage the Christians in Thessalonica, but rather to encourage them, because they see the end times coming about, because they see the things that are going on in the world. It should be that much more encouraging to those who are in Christ that what they're reading, that what they're hearing, what they're studying, what they know to be true is in fact true. They are seeing the pages of the Bible unfold in the headlines nearly every single day. And as Jesus talking about birth pangs happening in the end times, we're seeing that even now. And birth pangs are not just a scheduled type of pain like every so often, but rather that the frequency of the pain begins to diminish. It begins to happen more quickly, and the intensity begins to happen more quickly. And we're seeing that even now today with a lot of the things that are going on in the world. We're seeing more and more unrighteousness taking place, and we're seeing the intensity of that unrighteousness taking place as you start getting into satanic pedophilia, the works of ISIS and some of the things that they're doing, just all of this stuff in general. We're seeing intensity on a level that we've never seen before, and we're seeing it happen way more frequently than we had ever happened, or than we had ever seen before. But the other thing that I wanted to mention here is that for those who are on the fence, this should be a caution to you. I know many people are like, many people have heard the Christian story, have heard the mark of the beast, have heard of all of these eschatological, kind of foreshadowings, foretellings or whatever. They've been raised in Christian environments, but they themselves have not surrendered, to the Lord. And the message here is that many of these people who flat refuse to see the truth are going to be drawn into strong delusion. I mean, that's exactly what it says in verse 11, and for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. And I want you to see here who it is that's sending the delusion. It's God. God has appointed these people a certain amount of time to hear the truth. He has allowed them the opportunity to receive the truth. But it says that these people just flat refuse to receive the truth. They love not the truth. They wanted to continue in their own ways, and as a result, God said, okay, have it your way. And I want you to understand that this is not unmerciful of God, because God is giving them exactly what they asked for. They don't want the truth, therefore they don't get the truth. And it's kind of amazing the fact that God is somehow incriminated in a lot of people's minds as being unrighteous or unjust or unmerciful or whatever, when in reality God gives them exactly what they want. If you want God, He'll give you God. If you want unrighteousness, you can have that. But there does come a point when God sends strong delusion such that they become hardened in their path and they can no longer come back to God at that point. And that should be somewhat startling. And I know that many people are like, well, when I see the chip happening, I'm going to resist, and that'll be my time, that'll be my sign that these bad things are happening, and so on and so forth, that I will not be caught up in a delusion. But one thing that I want you to kind of recognize here is that many of those same people see the things that are going on in the world. They see us actually having serious scientific intellectual conversations about gender, about how many sexes there are, something that has been a foregone conclusion since man has walked the earth. And we actually have intelligent, educated people sitting down and discussing some 150 genders. If you don't think that intelligent people have the ability to become deluded, then you're already deluded. The fact of the matter is it's already happening. People are already being deluded. And that should be a caution, not much more for those people who are on the fence to make a decision, to figure out their priorities. I saw this documentary one time, and it was kind of poking fun at kind of these end-time doomer, Christian rapture type people and stuff. And one of the things that the videographer did was, he went in and he interviewed this family, and of course the parents are like, look, we're ready for the Lord to return. And as they interviewed the kids who were in their early to mid 20s and stuff, the kids are like, oh yeah, I believe, I go to church and this and that, but I just don't want God to come right now. I still want to get married, I want to do things, I want to do this. Look, that's only the mindset of somebody whose purposes and whose mission is focused here on this world, is focused on themselves. That's not Christianity. It's not. You can look through the book of Acts, which is a historical book of what happened after Christ died and how the church got formed and so on and so forth. You can look through there, you can look at every single one of the apostles or disciples, and you can see that every single one of them, their mission in life was not success. Their mission in life was not, what they did with their business. It wasn't focused here on this world. It was always focused otherworldly. It was always focused on the life hereafter. Their time here was always viewed as temporary, and as a result of that, Paul had the ability to say, To live is good, but to die is gain, because he realized that, what, if I get taken out of here, it doesn't matter. My time here is done. Essentially, many of the apostles and disciples looked at their time here on on earth rather, as we tend to look at going to work. We get up in the morning, we drive to the office, we do our work throughout the day, but at no point are we sitting there at the office just, hey, all right, I'm happy to be at work. It's always a mindset of, what, I'm going to do my job because that's what I get paid to do. But then I'm going home. I'm going home to my family. I'm going home to do the things that I want to do and stuff. But our minds are focused in the right place. They're focused on our families at home. That's not to say that when we're at work, we're not doing what we're supposed to do, but it's not our main mission. Our main mission is not work. And if it is, then what ends up happening is our family life suffers at home. And the same thing can be said here. If our main focus is here on this earth, then our eternal, focus suffers. If our main focus is on the eternal, then what happens here on earth doesn't matter. It just doesn't affect us. So I wanted to kind of throw that out there, for those people who are on the fence to maybe consider the possibility of becoming one of these fruitcakes, diluted into 150 genders and pronouns and all this stuff, and consider where your priorities are. This is not to get into an issue about pre-trib or post-trib rapture or anything like that. I don't care to debate on it. I have my views, and those people who try to make those views an issue of salvation, they have no biblical basis for doing so. There is no biblical basis for doing that, because the book of Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd, was actually written to people who were actually confused about when it was going to happen, whether it was going to happen pre-trib, post-trib, whether or not they were in the trib. But regardless, Paul didn't write to them and be like, oh, you people are not saved because you don't believe like I... No. Alright, eschatology is not a matter of salvation. You have your view and stuff like that. But one thing that is consistent is that we stay focused on what is important. And that is that our time here on earth is here for a reason. If we're to survive and last through a tribulation, then it'll be because of God's doing, and it will be because our focus is on Him and on doing His work while we're here. And if we get taken out during that time period, then it is what it is. Then we got exactly what we wanted, which was to go home. Our work is done. We're going home. We're punching out and we're going home. So I wanted to kind of point that out, and hopefully people will kind of get refocused, and those who are scared, who see the things that are coming, hopefully you'll look at it from a different perspective, that our focus is on Him, and the fact that we're seeing these things take place should not be a discouragement, but rather an encouragement that the rest of the book is true and can be trusted. I mean, if it predicted all of these things thousands of years in advance, then what else does it say is going to happen? And how else can we gain confidence that Christ is real and is here for us and has paid for our sins, and how will that then shape our focus and get it off of the world and get it on Him? So wanted to share that with you guys today. Sorry for running a little bit long, but it was something that I felt needed to be said. So, all right, God bless.